White?
We'll get to that.
Oh, that's not what you said. You said, is there any discussion on
Okay.
that?
Well, I'd just like to have more discussion about that
Okay.
item, okay? Clerk call the roll.
Vice Mayor Mashburn,
Yes.
Councilman Weisgerber.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Mishnick,
Yes.
and Mayor McGehee.
Yes. Okay, so we move to that next, or we do I have the consent calendar?
Yeah, so you'll approve the consent calendar
Right.
for the roll call for that.
Okay. Any discussion on the other consent calendar items? No? Would clerk call the roll, please?
Councilman Weisgerber,
Here.
Councilman Mishnick,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mashburn,
Yes.
and Mayor McGehee.
Yes. Okay, so we'll take up resolution 24-60. And I was just wondering, I noticed we had 2 bids, and I did a little research, and I'm interested in this one because I was kind of suggested the idea of looking at a container purchase, a modified container. When I researched the 2 websites, the one website for Bob's out of Texas, they had a lot of pictures, and you could see the item, and their description of the item was a lot more detailed than the one for ABC. I don't understand, and then we get the other quote. Did this come in under?
This morning.
So,
So this would be the second place if it were considered.
okay, I guess my question is, I want to save money for the citizens, but I don't want to cut corners. Are we confident that the item from ABC, because it's so much less expensive, is sturdy enough and will really handle the usage that it's going to get?
A container is a container. All 3 bid brand new containers. The biggest question does come down to quality on the inside
Exactly.
of the container. And yes, ABC is a little less of a known quantity.
Okay. You know, one of the things that I noticed in Bob's description, they refer to the commercial grade quality of the fittings, for instance, in the shower, for example, in the bathroom. Are we confident we're going to get the same level of fitting in the ABC containers?
No. And where this was bid out, or the request was put out simply that you needed to provide, for example, in the first container, a sink, a toilet, a commode, and a shower. Then HVAC, small units, that was pretty much the specification for all of them.
So our hands would be tied to take the lowest bid then, regardless of the differences maybe in the quality?
No, quality can be taken into consideration. The sole basis of the recommendation was price.
Okay.
Are we gonna have a long-term issue with the cheaper container, or do you think it's gonna meet our needs? Or do you know?
Again, I don't know. It's a bit of an unknown. I would say that both Bob's and Falcon Structures have been city.
Now, is the 20-foot gonna be big enough?
It should be. So it's 2 different containers. One would be for 2 bathrooms. So basically, other than a small section at the very end where the doors normally are at, you're pretty much talking a 9x8 bathroom for each of those.
So there's 2 containers?
Yes.
Oh, okay, never mind.
And so you're talking a 9x8 restroom that's only 1 occupant at a time. And then the other one being a 20-foot by 8 container that's just a break room. So.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I just was worried about the
Yeah.
size.
For the 5 to 7 employees, depending on whether the pickup drivers, collection drivers are there, it should suffice.
Well, just in the estimates of what is provided, that was my concern too, was, the quality. And I wonder, in this case, if it would be better in the long run to go with, because Falcons seem to be very detailed and good quality. And I would think in the long run that might benefit us.
Would we be better off to possibly rebid with some more stringent?
We can certainly do that, yes.
Do you think we're into something where we spend a 40 and
Even with a more detailed spec, I would almost have to refer to an architect or someone who's more familiar with building materials to determine whether or not we get any additional longevity out of it.
And I want to get something good. You know, if we're going to end, of course, we just got the Falcon bid. Today it's just slightly higher than the ABC storage bid. My feeling would be to table it, or at least reject the ABC bid at this time, or I guess table the issue. Let staff do a little bit more research on that to get a better idea of what they want to recommend for this.
Can you guys out there hear?
Slightly, yeah. You're good. You got, for me, you're good.
Okay, all right.
Russell, good for you?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All
Keep
right.
looking.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to direct staff to investigate the proposals further.
So table this item.
Table this item.
Okay, so they can be more, okay.
The next meeting.
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that?
If I may pose
Sure.
a question, is ABC to be considered as we?
Yeah, because there's no detail in their bid to really know whether they're doing a higher grade installation or just basic.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, another discussion with the clerk on roll.
Vice Mayor Mashburn,
Yes,
Councilman Weisgerber,
Yes.
Councilman Mishnick,
Yes.
and Mayor McGee.
Yes. All right.
next item on the agenda is resolution 24-61 to accept and approve the operations and maintenance manual for the Malzar system at the Alliance Municipal Airport. And is Lynn here to answer
Sure.
questions?
Yep.
Can you tell everybody else what Malzar means?
I was gonna look it up, but you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
well,
Hopefully.
it's a long abbreviation. It's medium intensity approach lighting.
Lynn, you need to state your name.
Lynn
and address.
Hotchek, Airport Manager,
Address.
936 Laramie.
Laramie?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So what is who do you want to see?
So it's a Navi that helps pilots get in when weather is not ideal. So this piece of equipment, I think we've had this, I should have brought that or put that in. So it goes off the end of our main runway. And the first section of lights are like every 200 feet, and there's a concrete section with 5 bulbs. And then sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, and it goes out 1,000 feet, and then there's 5 flashers after that go another 1,000 feet. That makes up this system. It supports the ILS. As soon as we have, that's an instrument landing system, as soon as we have that, this is required to be inspected.
So,
So,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. So, this is all coming about by trying to get this where it needs to be, because we're the only airport in the state of Nebraska that owns their own Malzar. Usually it's owned by the FAA and they keep it up. The city put it in originally to try to get the instrument landing system, because it lowers the ceiling on when the aircraft can come in, and we get fog here. So that was making a lot of cancellations happen, or the set wing jet not be able to come in when it's doing flight for life, stuff like that. So they put this in to try to get the instrument landing system. By the time when they first put that in, they requested that the FAA take it over. They declined because it didn't support the ILS. Then when the ILS finally got installed, then it doesn't meet specs anymore of what it would be if you installed a new one. It's fine how it is because we've had it, but that's now why they will not
And we
take
want
it over.
the FAA to take it over. FAA.
Yeah, but they're not going to. We would basically be cheaper to put a brand new one in than it would be to get this, because it's the concrete that it's sitting in, they want it deeper and thicker now. So you would basically be putting in a whole new system.
Okay.
So, this is one of the steps we have to go through because it has to get inspected, we have to have a verified technician. That's the Neo Electrical that I brought before council to have them on. They've actually come in and done the inspection and had the FAA inspect it. We've had a couple of those single flashers get hit by lightning, the boxes, so they're getting rebuilt. So basically have probably half of the system working and the other half is noted out, but it's all in compliance. But to do that, we have to keep the technicians hired, and we have to have this manual that basically tells us all the rules, which is what we've been doing.
But it's just part of that step and process
Yep.
we have to take and.
Yep, I think we fell through the cracks for a long time. I think they notified us, I think in 2018, and we've tried to get them to take it over. We've tried to figure out how we get our staff to be qualified. I didn't know if it would be an electrician or one of our airport maintenance staff. Then COVID hit. It's just been a vicious cycle. I mean, they've even at one point wanted to turn it off because they acted like it was never inspected when it was basically commissioned or turned on. Which, just go dig in your files because
It's there.
It's there. Type of thing. So it's been a long process, but this is good.
Oh,
So it's just one of the steps. We really don't have a choice unless we don't want to have that navigate for pilots, and we do.
yes, the airport greatly
Yeah.
benefits our city
Yeah,
and
it's important.
appealing.
So that's it in a nutshell. How about that?
So what you're saying, if we don't go this step, it's possible FAA will not allow us to?
It's not possible. It absolutely 100%. They will make us turn it off.
Okay,
That's,
Okay.
this is just the rule.
gotcha.
Okay.
There's
That's
a
why I
lot of the
just wanted to
FAA
clarify
stuff
that.
we don't have a choice of, and this is one of them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? We never had a motion.
Oh, sorry. I make a motion to approve resolution 24-61, airport operations and maintenance manual.
Second. Have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Yes, yeah.
Oh, and then if I could go back to the
Yes, you may.
last
Yeah, you
agenda.
bet.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
So,
Just state your name and your address, please.
my name's Manisha, but my address is confidential due to the safety of my child
Okay.
who
That's
in
fair.
this profession.
That's fine.
Thank you for your service. I guess my question is, you said that the FFA, we don't want them to take it over because there would be more requirements. Was that my understanding?
No, we would want them to, but they won't.
But they won't. Why would
Yeah.
they not?
Because it does not meet specifications like it's a brand new system.
So is that a safety issue, safety hazard, that it doesn't meet like a code on a national
No.
level of FFA?
No, or it would be turned off or noted out. It's because when it's a new system, there are specs that go out, but this wasn't the spec when it was first put in.
Okay.
It's meeting all,
Grandfathered.
yeah,
Okay.
basically. But because of the steps that it followed, it was a number of years when they installed it. I think it was back in 2005 when it got commissioned. They started it years even before that.
Mhm.
I think the city originally was under the impression that it would get taken over. But there's a rule that they cannot take it over and maintenance it, because that's expense to them,
Mhm.
unless it has this ILS. And that ILS got turned on and installed, I believe, in 2012. So that many years went by before all of the instrument landing system got put in. So then those concrete,
I'm familiar with what
yeah.
you're speaking of now.
yeah, so,
Okay, so then I guess my next question, it sounds like an urgency that some of it's malfunctioning. Is that why we're having this?
no, this is
Is it
an
manual?
Yep, it's just a manual, and the attorney said that we should have it go before council, so
Oh.
that's what we're doing.
Oh, this is the attorney?
Yep,
One of them.
Oh,
Yep.
we'll be busy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I totally see. But can we look at the possibility of FFA taking over that system
We are,
eventually?
yeah, we
To-
already have. They won't do it.
I think I heard you say at extreme cost to the city, we would have to.
No, I think that, at this point, we could possibly pay basically by putting a new system in, and they will not guarantee that they will take it over. So we would have to spend the money, because we had asked them and talked to them, if we spend our own money and put in a new system, then would you take it over? Well, you have to install it and then do the request.
Oh.
And we would be in that same.
So there's no guarantee.
The same boat. The next thing we're trying to do is actually see if they would do it through a grant.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of trying to do that,
Okay.
but because I don't know that they would let us qualify to have that system anymore for the traffic that we have coming in. I'm sure there's all sorts of rules, so we're pretty limited. And this has been years of battling and trying to get resolution.
I'm sure.
So,
I've had to work with FFA, so I commend you for
Yeah.
taking on that task.
Okay.
You know.
I think-
And I'm glad you brought up the grant, because I really hope we work forward to that, because they're taking this detrimental amount towards the city when we could be focusing on creating a splash park for our children, you know, or, you know, just taking even, I mean, that would cost minimal amount, but we could take those funds and, you know, divert it other places.
I mean, our
Okay.
system, when we get the majority of our system is working and pilots are still using it. So to get those boxes rebuilt, there's money involved, but it's not, I mean, this is routine maintenance that we have been doing for years.
I think we're getting a little off the
So-
topic.
No, not.
Yes, we are.
You stated
We're-
about the
we're-
future, you stated about the future.
You-
So once you get this manual and you would get it installed, does that mean something we could look at possibly then take it? I didn't know if you stated
Our
that about the
system's already
future.
installed.
Mhm. But the updates.
Okay, Denise, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes is up.
That
And
doesn't
we
come
are-
with this.
and-
We
I'm
got
sorry,
the agenda.
but you,
The future,
Denise,
so the
Denise,
future-
you're off
The future,
topic.
can the FFA take over eventually when you get everything up to regulation?
What? Okay.
No.
I'm gonna ask you to take a seat because you've gotten off topic.
But can you ask that question, Mayor? Then can you ask the question, because I'm not sure I heard that, in the future,
Uh-huh.
once we look at all the financial aspects of maintaining this particular system.
Right.
And thankfully to Esquire Swanson, he requested this manual to make sure that the community is safeguarded. In the future, can we indeed look at the fact, once we get what we need here in our community, our beloved community, can we look at the fact that the FFA coming in at that time?
We always do, yes, we always look to FAA first because they pay 90, when they approve it, they pay 90%. So
Right.
we always will look at that first, absolutely.
So can you educate the community on how that then works on, you know?
We do every time we come up with something that has to do with the airport.
Uh-huh.
We always talk about the FAA involvement in that before, during that purchase process. So yes, we always work with the FAA, stay within their guidelines and use their systems so that they will fund 90% of the improvements.
So they do typically
Yes, they do.
fund.
Yes, they do.
That's what I was
Yes,
going
yeah,
at, and then
they
we
do.
only fund the 10%.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you for that
Sure.
clarification. I didn't hear that spoken until you spoke. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
And then I do have some questions on the container. So I addressed that to Shelby to make sure I come back about the
Okay.
containers.
That'll be at the next meeting when we have the discussion on that.
No, I get the option as a citizen to ask also in regards to what's being spoken at. So my only question is, I missed the cost. Nobody mentioned what cost the Falcon bid, or, and I apologize.
I'm happy to clarify that right away.
Thank you, Mayor.
So the 2 bids that we received prior to the meeting were for ABC Storage, is that correct, ABC Storage
Mhm.
Systems?
Here's the-
And it was approximately just a little over about $42,000.
42, yeah, that's,
Roughly
I thought I saw
42,000.
40,000 on the.
Yeah, a little over about $42,000.
We'll go roll
The
that.
bid from Bob's Containers was $79,251.
72,000.
79,251.
And I'm sorry, I have a disability.
That's right.
So you have to repeat yourself, so
Sure.
I make sure that I have it, and if, unless it's in writing,
Uh-huh.
like being served with trespassing charges, I can't get
Okay.
it.
79,000.
Uh-huh,
And then the one from Falcon that we received when we got here this evening is for $54,440.
54,
440.
and this is for the,
This would be for 2 containers, one which would serve as a bathroom facility, bathroom and shower facility, and the other one would serve as a break room facility for the staff at the landfill.
awesome, I'm so thankful for that, because as her father is, I don't know the right, as Ross and I spoke yesterday, refuse engineer, I don't, trash man, I'm just gonna be straight up, I'm not trying to change terminology. Thank you for looking out after them, because they deserve that clean environment to eat their food instead of having to feel rushed to go home.
Absolutely.
And chow it down and to use the restroom, because that restroom there is beyond nasty.
Yeah.
So thank you for
That's,
looking out.
that's our
for
goal,
them. Thank you.
absolutely. Yep. Okay. All right, we are at calling the question on, so clerk, would you call the roll on resolution 24-61?
Councilman Mishnick,
Yes?
Councilman Weisgerber,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Mashburn,
Yes.
and Mayor McGehee.
Yes. So the last item on the agenda is the quarterly public comment, and do we have that list?
Here, I'll bring it to you, Mayor.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, because I'll be going to, but I have to have my notes.
All right, Denise, you are the only one signed up to speak, so I'll allow you to come up first. Again, state your name and,
Tim is not here, and Karen, it's her birthday.
and then at this point, there is a 3-minute limit.
I need a visual, excuse me, my 3 minutes is gonna stop, but at a state level, I have a timer and I can visually see it, for me, so I need a visual.
I don't have one. I'm gonna keep it on here for you.
But last time it interrupted me, so it interrupted my train of thought, and I can't do that, so
I'm sorry.
Can somebody put a timer on their phone for me?
I have it
So
right
can
here.
visually see
Yep.
it? No, so I can see it. I'm not
I'll put
asking
mine
so
on.
you can see it, thanks.
Okay.
Shall we?
Okay, I'm gonna start it, so your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, as we all know, I can say a lot. Am I right? Wait, I can see it.
Here you go.
I have a lot to say in regards to the community. I am grateful the Lord has brought me here. Ministry. Has brought me here to be here and serve people and give them an upper hand. That is part of my calling to be here. I will not tolerate wolves in sheep's clothing. Will not tolerate it. They will go down. And I'm not talking, I'm not talking necessarily about Chief Levitt, because he knows, him and I were able to converse with one another on 3 occasions now, you know? One where I went and reported an officer here that's so freaking crooked, I wanna vomit. And this department's been notified many times about Leduc. Let's go back to an issue that Seth Sorensen said he didn't have the time or the manpower to take on multiple people, providing an actual formal complaint on.
Okay, if this has to do anything with personnel, I'm sorry, we cannot discuss
I'm not
it.
asking you to discuss.
You are discussing it
No.
though. You brought up a person's name individually and I will not
Okay, I
allow
will
it.
retract that, thank you,
I
thank
will
you.
not allow
So I'm getting a little bit more time because that's what happens on the state level. And shall we just, stop.
No, you're not getting any additional time,
So,
that's your on you.
no, you should advise me
No.
beforehand. So anyway, so thank you for taking the time to speak to me and making sure I got to the proper chain of lieutenant to file that formal complaint, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some follow-up in regards to that complaint, as I'm going to take it like you advised and Director Stevenson advised, and Seth Sorensen advised, no bullshit, I don't have a thing.
Please watch your language.
No, you can't take away my freedom of speech.
Yes, I
And they-
can.
No,
You
no,
need to have
no.
proper
This is a
decorum
public
because
meeting, they're allowed to control the
No.
decorum.
They can
They
control the
can-
form, but they can't say what
They
comes out of my
can
mouth.
control
They can't
offensive
do-
language, yes, they
No,
can.
no.
This is
Show
not,
me-
this is
show
not.
me in code.
I'm just
Show
telling
me
you
in-
that right
show
now.
me, show me.
I don't need to show you
anyway,
that.
thank you, thank you.
You're using your
Thank
time
you.
up.
Excuse me, I know, but because he distracted me by saying 1 minute, because he doesn't want to hear about him. He can't tell me who I get to pick and choose. If I'm having what, part of my disability, he can't address me like he did the other day. I want that man gone. You think I'm a
Denise,
Facebook warrior, as I've been called by some, God love them? You know, I hope Director Stevenson says to me that it is legit, Dennis. And
Denise, I'm
like
sorry,
I
your
told
time
you,
is up.
I commend that you come here because this is a tough
you have to
town.
call security.
Denise, you're out of time. We can talk in my office if you wanna talk some more another time.
Fourth time.
But you're
Next
out of
time, fourth time. Is this happening quarterly? Because normally any person on a chair would say, please continue. And knowing that they get disabilities, they get additional time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, look it up. And fuck you, Sorensen.
Okay,
That
you-
might
Okay,
be
you
a
need
lot.
to
I
listen.
will leave, I will leave. I will leave on my own accord. You don't get to tell me I don't get to pick and choose in that situation. Thank you, Chief, for taking care of me and making sure he left. I get grab your paper and push in your chair. Thank you for taking care of me. I appreciate
Yes, ma'am.
that.
That didn't work out.
Okay, at this time, is there anyone else that would like to address the council?
I just wanna know, whoever thought that the day would come that I would be the good guy in this city.
Okay.
I